Hello, hello,
Morning,
hello.
guys.
How's
Hey,
everyone
happy
doing?
Halloween, guys.
Oh yeah, it is Halloween. I see
Doing
you
all
all
right.
dressed up.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
We're all
scary
just
enough,
naturally scary, right?
We should have put hacker hoodies on.
Oh man, that's a good
The,
call out. Should have
the
done that.
light
Yeah, missed
the
opportunity.
light blue doesn't have the same scary aura that a black hoodie does, so
Yeah, I gotta
I
say,
could
Josh, that
try.
doesn't look like a hacker. That looks like a
Not working
Yeah,
too
guy at a
well.
Harry Potter convention or something.
you should be hanging out under the bleachers at the high school football game. Oh man, so how have you guys been? I feel like, gosh, I haven't seen you guys. Well, Matt, I still got to see you in person here recently, but yeah, been gone
Right?
traveling.
Haven't seen you for a week or so.
Yeah, but in general, haven't been able to be on the show in a while. So how have you guys been?
Everything's good. I mean, it's obviously crunch time before IT Nation coming up, but other than that, a lot of exciting things going on. So I'm optimistic and busy in a good way is the way I'll describe it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a crazy last couple of weeks with work stuff plus trying to prep for IT Nation. Definitely not I'm not as involved as Matt, but I feel maybe just underneath, trying to do a bunch of the pre-day stuff with Henry here, and then presentation on Friday, but I'm looking forward to it. And then getting everything ready so I can not be active at work for a couple days, and then the officially started my son in hockey season, so now we're 3 days a week at the rink and everything else that's going on. So it's been crazy over here in the Hohbein household.
Nice. Yeah, a lot going on though. It's good. Let's
So
see.
we
Sports.
also
We
have
usually talk
to.
about sports.
We're not going to skip over the fact that we're going to do an early birthday celebration for you next Friday too. So, Mr. Copper.
I know. I feel like I'll be changing my
Here.
flight to leave much later Saturday than it's currently scheduled for.
I didn't realize our birthdays were so close together. Mine is the 10th, which is that Monday.
Oh
So,
yeah, it's close.
couple days, man.
All right, so we've got to do a combined thing. Noted. Let me just.
That information may come back to haunt me here a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, your Jets got their first win. Thankfully, it wasn't against the Panthers, so I'll take that.
It's typical Jets in that as soon as they start becoming in contention for the first overall pick, now they start winning. That's exactly how we do things around here. But I have no confidence that if they did get a franchise or early draft quarterback, that they would do anything with him developmentally anyway. So I'll take the win. I don't want to be the next 0-17 team. I guess it would be the first one, right? Nobody's done 0-17 yet.
That's right. How about baseball? Who's taking it? It happened tonight.
Yeah, it could still go either way. Like the Jays have looked good, but you can't count out the Dodgers, right? They're the Dodgers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Kershaw. I think would like to go out with that nice win. So we'll see. Did you guys catch the game the other night that went on for like 13 hours?
Yeah, the 18-inning game. I'm happy I'm not actually a fan of one of those teams, so I didn't have to stay up for the whole thing.
Yeah, that was impressive. But
yeah, who stayed up for the 18-inning game? That's
I would have if my team was in it, but no way. As a neutral fan, am I watching that?
No.
Well, let's getting into our stories here. We talked about birthdays on here, so that actually is oddly enough the theme of our first story here: tickets who never get resolved. So, does anyone else have 5 or 6 tickets dangling around in their ticket system for 3, 4, 5 months, or even a year? Not sure what the problem is, so I'm wondering if this is more common. We've gone over it with the tech assigned, tried to develop a strategy for solving it, and it still sits. So, you guys ever celebrated ticket birthdays?
I've seen it happen, but it's usually a couple of potential things, when this happens. One is it's something that really should be a QBR roadmap item to begin with, right? It's usually not a just break fix ticket. Something shouldn't be broken for a year. Or it's really something that belongs in a like strategy session, or like the ticket is something like, replace remote access method because they're having a lot of problems with the VPN. Okay, that's a long-term thing, and there might be a place for that with things like long-term strategic boards or in whatever you use to track QBRs and things like that. I think for the most part, though, there's a hidden question in this, and it's, are you talking about a like broken thing, like a break fix type ticket that's open for a long time? That screams a problem. But often when you see this, I think it's just something miscategorized.
Yeah, if you're celebrating birthdays and half birthdays of tickets, I think there's probably some process issues here. More than likely, to Matt's point, I think probably classification is wrong. Things that should be projects are probably being listed as tickets, unless you have those tickets clearly delineated onto a project board. But yeah, we have our process set up so that if we're waiting on a client for an extended period of time or a supplier for some reason, we have a set number of reminders that go out before that ticket auto closes, pending those third parties. So I mean, there's only so much you can do and control and stay on it for so long before you're just burning money trying to chase down something that clearly isn't important to one of the other parties involved.
What's the rule on that? So at what point, do you go, you're just not being mean enough to the client, or saying, hey, you're not responding, or closing that out? Do you have a process what does that look like?
Yeah, so for client side, it's 2 weeks of no action, no movement, no communication. For a third party, we will let that go up to a month. So if like something we're waiting on a RMA or something like that for a specialized part or something, we'll let it go that long. But usually we're doing pretty frequent check-ins and reminders on that to try and get a status update so that the ticket keeps moving.
And there's no better way to get a response than to close out the ticket and send out the ticket is closed notification.
Yep.
Yeah. What's your guys' rule? How do you guys do it?
Kind of the same thing. I don't remember exactly what the threshold was, but it was a couple weeks, right? Like you can't just have these tickets sitting there forever. It messes up a lot of other metrics and things like that. And I was joking about it before, but really there comes a point where if it's not important to the client, it's not important to us either.
Yeah, that was my go-to when I was doing tech work. Like I don't know what phrase you want to call it, but I hate it. Like my goal was just like 0 tickets on the board. I could clear the board, right? And not doing it just to like, oh, quick fix and close it, but like, hey, I like my board clean, right? So if there was something, that's where I would, call the user, hey, can't get a hold of you, kind of do the map method where let it go for a week, try to reach out to the user, no reply, do it at least 3 times and say, hey, sorry, we couldn't reach you. Like, we're closing it at this time. Please call back when you're ready for troubleshooting. Because it's just, other than that, if you don't put any sort of closure on it, like, it's just going to sit there. And I think, if it's at 3 months, if it's already at 3 months, that's even a month seems like a lot. Then are you going to pick it up that next week? Like, it's just going to sit there. No one's going to do it. So figuring out what it needs to be done. Maybe it's a project. Maybe it's something that needs to become a problem ticket, finding the root cause, etc. But yeah, there's what would be the maximum you would think of the tickets? Like, what would be the absolute maximum you would allow a ticket to be on your board?
I don't necessarily have a maximum. Like if something's being worked on actively, it can be on there for quite a while. Now, in many cases, that means it should be a project or something else, but there have been one-off cases of just like really long troubleshooting things that took a lot of back and forth that persisted for quite a while. So there's not a hard rule for that, but you eventually get to a point where you say, okay, this really, something has to get replaced, whether it's hardware or the troublesome application you're troubleshooting, or maybe the end user in some cases, something needs to get swapped out.
I like the idea of swapping out the end user.
And you got me curious now. I'm looking at our board here. This isn't something obviously I have any control over or look at, but I am curious. Looks like we're running a tight ship here, as expected.
Yeah, I don't know that I would. I'm trying to think of like the worst case scenario of like the most pain in the butt ticket scenario. And like Matt, I think as long as it's being actively worked on, we might change the classification of what it is. But we're gonna, as long as it's active, we're gonna keep it open.
Yeah, so
I think if I could add one more.
Our oldest is 2 months ago, but everything has been updated within at least 3 days. So again, it is an older ticket, but it's something continually being worked or actively being worked.
So I think I want to add one more thing to this, and that is to remember that PSAs like have more than one board, right? That's a function of every single ticketing system, and you don't necessarily have to have this, oh my God, something can't be old on anything but the active break fix stuff board, right? There's a place in PSAs for I have a long-term thing that I want to track for some kind of reporting reason. Now you might use some kind of QBR tool for that, but I've seen plenty of orgs use their PSA, right? Like you filter by client and things I want to talk about or long-term things that they should quote or upgrade, like end up there. That's fine too. It's just when you're running your reports and metrics, make sure to take into account that you have a place for like day-to-day break fix stuff to track and also long-term planning, and exclude that from your reports if you do it that way.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, we do follow the ITIL process, so we have incident requests, problem tickets, and then between those various different projects, different departments, and things like that. So looking at those boards would look considerably different than just your typical break fix intake board. So use your tools. All right, let's go ahead and get to the next one. So a little bit of a bright spot on this Friday. What is the best compliment you've ever gotten? This poster shares that a boutique law firm in Seattle had a part-time IT guy who only came when things broke. Typical business, why fix if it's not broken? Then one Monday, their VoIP phones went down during a deposition call. They waited 6 hours for a fix, losing billable time and credibility with their client. Well, we onboarded them with 24/7 help desk support and proactive monitoring. Now, if a phone system hiccup happens, we're alerted instantly and resolve it before they even noticed. Their manager partner told us it's like having an IT department without the overhead. Small win, but we do believe there's always a better solution for the problem. Does anyone else get those work well done or attaboy feeling, or is it just us?
Yeah, no, I think like probably most people, you get those compliments, and obviously best compliments are referral, but we'll have clients that want to tip, like give tips to technicians, or we'll get nice feedback on our surveys and stuff like that. I'm trying to think of the most interesting one. We had to deal with one situation where a client was probably too suggestive in their appreciation. But yeah, I mean, it's always nice to get compliments as long as they are appropriate.
Oh man, let's leave that at that.
How about you guys?
Yeah, like you would get the, hey, thanks, this really saved us. We had a big thing going on and we were able to meet our deadline kind of stuff. I'll take it a slightly different direction. the best compliment wasn't a specific compliment, but there was one particular client. I don't know if I just clicked with them or what, but I really felt like part of their office and company. Like I would go there, we would not quite hang out, but like if there was a power outage at the office, I'd go work there, or you just kind of felt like you were part of the team there, not just their IT person, and that felt good. Like this is what it's supposed to be, and that particular client relationship was one that I still like did occasional side work for and stuff afterwards. Right? It's that doesn't happen often, and having that close of a relationship with a client is pretty rewarding in itself. That for me meant more than like the thank yous and the hey, you really saved us. Like just being welcomed into the company like that was nice.
Yeah, we've had a few. I mean, probably the one of the best ones. I mean, not best in that like it was terrible that it happened, but one of the things that we do weekly lunch and learns on Wednesday from noon to 12:30, and then we rotate those. So like doing a financial review, doing a company update. But one thing that we do once a month is a client spotlight. So we had a particular client who suffered a very bad ransomware incident, and through stroke of luck, there was a backup found somewhere that we kind of just stumbled upon, and using that we were able to kind of save them. And when they came on to do the lunch and learn, the POC from the company actually broke down and was like, we've been in business for 20, 30 years, and if you guys hadn't have found that, like that would have been the it, and like we can't thank you enough. And she's like almost like in tears, thanking us. And it's like, man, that's powerful stuff. It's you really gets you like, hey, this is what we do, why we do what we do. Is it's not just dollars and cents or clients. It's, hey, you're affecting you like other humans' livelihoods, and it's just amazing that you're able to make sure that they can operate and grow, not only as businesses but as people themselves. So that was the one that stands out the most. But I've also had some fun ones earlier in my career, like Henry's example. But it's good to just have that. It's or when you bring on a new client, you do a follow up within a couple months, and it's like, hey, this is a breath of fresh air working with you guys. So no, it's definitely. Go ahead.
What's the most rewarding scenario, or like onboarding a client or helping them through an incident? What's been the most rewarding one that you guys have had to deal with? Compliments or
It's
not?
got to be that. I think it's that same client, right? The one that I talked about a few minutes ago. They had just a huge disaster one day. Like the server room had basically, some kind of electrical issue and everything fried. And we were able to get them up and running in a duct tape and bubble gum type situation, just like servers running on whatever hardware we could find that got them through the weekend. And then we just moved everything over the next night and weekend stuff. It was that one felt good, and part of that goes back to I had such a strong relationship with them. Like it was, you felt like you were helping your own company out, and I know you, in theory, feel that way about every client, but there are some that you like better than others. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah.
And it just felt really good to get them back up and running when they walked into like a literal fire.
I think I've had those before, but the one that really stands out to me that I'm really personally proud of is dealing with an incident on a client, and the compliment didn't actually even come from the client. It was the DFIR firm that we were working with that was insurance provided. They were so impressed by our actions and our documentation and how we took control of the situation, laid everything out, and all of this, that they reached out to us afterwards to basically partner with, like, hey, if we need extra hands or if we need project work, like we'd like to refer you guys and work with you guys, because like that was just awesome to see. So that's definitely kind of a little bit of a pride moment where you have someone else that's in a semi-related field that is able to like kind of, see peer to peer that what you guys are doing is awesome. So that was a huge confidence boost on my end.
Yeah. We had a nice compliment come through an insurer after helping a client that went through a catastrophic fire. But that was one of those things where, like, yeah, you pull out all the stops and it's try and just focus on the people that are impacted by it. This unfortunate scenario, there was fatalities with the event, so there was high emotions for everyone involved, and that's probably the most rewarding one that we've done.
So you keep a client for life sort of events there.
Yep.
Yeah, seriously.
All right. Well, those were all awesome stories. Compliments are great. Just to kind of a quick plug, if you guys are watching and you want to share, we always want to share positivity. So join our Discord and post some of the compliments that you guys have received, so we can just kind of bask in that positivity glow. But let's move ahead here to our next story. We've all dealt with I just restarted my computer 10 times, or I email myself password types of clients. But what's the most persistent bad habit you've successfully or unsuccessfully tried to break a client of, and what finally worked? Was it training, policy, or a piece of technology that forced the change? I'm going to go first with mine. This is my biggest pet peeve that will still bug me to this day, is don't turn your damn computers off at night. That's when we need to install the updates and do the maintenance. Stop turning off your computers. This isn't the 90s. You're not saving energy. The computers are meant to be left on all the time, so leave them on, damn it.
How do you really feel?
Right?
There's been multiple times where, like, and again, previous in my tech, where customers complain, oh, and I turn it on, it's slow, or it's slow during the day. Like, okay, you need to stop turning it off. Like, I see that the windows are updating. Like, we have maintenance windows. Please leave them on. Well, I don't want to leave it on in case of there's a lightning storm. That's why you have a surge protector. Just stop it. Well, I'm saving energy. You don't pay the company's energy bill. Leave it on. All right,
Oh, do you need a hug?
yeah.
That sounds like it.
Oh man. Yeah, I think most of my big pet peeves all are security related, and those get addressed by a combination of training and policy and technology. So yeah, the getting people to adopt things that they should be as far as security best practices, MFA, and like lock it up. Like you can train for that as much as you want, but unfortunately, until you force things through policy, a lot of times you're not going to get that final 20-30%.
Oh man, pet peeves. How much time do we have to talk about bad habits and pet peeves? I have a couple. One is, I'll take a different route. Here in the northern states, space heaters. That's one of my big pet peeves. Stop plugging them into the battery backup, please. Thank you very much. Tripping breakers with them. Stop plugging anything into the server UPS, by the way, just because in the server room doesn't mean that the vacuum should go in it, cleaning people. A lot of power related ones. Stop plugging serial cables into APC UPSs. What else can we talk about power? Actually, I think another one though is that if I'm not talking about end users necessarily, but when I was managing a team of admins, I would get frustrated, honestly, at the expectations they had for end users. Right, a lot of the times you would see someone, and Josh, I'm not disagreeing with your take, but you would see kind of that reaction for everything that you just had, right? Like, why don't they just do this? And why don't they just click here? And like, and a lot of times the answer is because we made it too hard to do the right thing in the way that we set up these environments. And I would just see that frustration boil over. I ask people, why didn't you set that via policy, or why didn't you make it impossible for them to do the wrong thing? And if there's a lesson, it's
So what you're saying is
like one of our goals as
I
admins
should have disabled
should,
the power.
I mean, maybe take it to that extreme, or the other thing might be like I would challenge you to make your maintenance scripts properly run if they skip their maintenance window. When the next boot up comes on. There's a lot of ways to look at this, but I like to think of us as admins as trying to make it as easy as possible to do the right thing and difficult to do the wrong thing. Because these guys are all trying to get their actual jobs done. And our job is to let them do that while maintaining security and maintenance and all that stuff. So soapbox is lower your expectations somewhat of end users and remember that they're just trying to get their work done. And we need to make that easier for them or possible to do that while still getting the things done that we need.
I've got one for our internal team. I don't know if you guys have internal cabling teams or do any of that type of work, but keeping your tools together and centralized, all your supplies and tools centralized when you're on a job site, and remembering to put everything back where you got it from. Like, for the love of God, the amount of tools that I buy every year to replace tools that get lost or left places, like, it's sickening.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of structured cabling pet peeves, like not using the right pinout or, messing with all that stuff or, oof. Yeah, let's not go there. I don't miss doing cabling work. I haven't done that in a while.
How about putting good annotations and comments within your scripts?
Yes.
Comment your code.
And answering why with your comments, not a comment like, checks loop. That's very obvious what the if statement does. Like, why did you do this? Or something that looks weird. Like, why does it look weird and you had to do it anyway? Like, useful comments.
My favorite is the I'll fill this out later, like the placeholder comment. All right.
I don't know. I went on a rant. If you want like an answer to what I think the spirit of the question was, it might be the typical like password sticky note thing or reusing them or all that stuff. But even then, like you can go down the same road of, well, we should be enabling SSO for everything. I don't know. I feel like it always comes back to us in some way.
Yeah, I mean, like, as animated as my rant it was. I mean, I obviously didn't, explode on the client like that. That was definitely internal facing. But I would lead with education on that, and that's kind of the same thing of like, okay, why should you leave your computer off, or why shouldn't you use these passwords, and trying to make it easier for, like Matt said, is the SSO. I clearly should have gone as far as just not letting them turn the computer off. I mean, you're doing more work than just the path of least resistance by turning your computer off. But no, it's a good therapy session. Let's
it sounded cathartic. I think it was worth it.
I hope someone screen grabs that.
See my campaign platform. Just leave them on. All right, so this is kind of an interesting spin on the advice I give my client finding a replacement as they retire. So a little bit long, so I'll kind of paraphrase quickly here, but this is a one-man shop who is retiring. Doesn't have the mental capacity to keep up with all the different scams, different parts of security management. And I'm not a good salesman or businessman. I like working with computers. I'm always billing late. I'm always rounding down on time I spend. I keep thinking I took too long. I should have known more. I should have done this quick this thing quicker, and I'm frugal. I hate spending money, and this reflects on my SMB clients. There's typically no rack, no cabinet, no punch down, no patch panel. Cables I'd pull, rather get an RJ45 and go into the switch. The rack and the patch panel is more money and another point of failure, so I've never had a problem. So what's happening now is as clients are going out and he's, recommending, hey, I'm retiring, you need to get more support. So there's the clients are now having issues because these other MSPs are coming in and they're recommending a $2,500 APC unit, but I gave them a $150 unit from Costco and it's doing fine. A firewall with a 3-year subscription for $4,500. Well, I pitched a cloud key at $250 and I have the Unify controller at my home office with all my client sites on it. I don't charge the clients after install. The controller's for me for troubleshooting. Admittedly, I didn't do any monitoring and patching of the access points, but I like the single pane of glass versus a cloud key. So he's basically like saying, hey, I'm resourceful. This is how I do things. And now I'm retiring. And these clients are going out trying to find other support, but they're coming back to him because, well, hey, why are they trying to sell me these things? Are they the right thing? So what is your advice to this guy? Because this is a unique take on this one.
What the heck? Is this a creative writing exercise? I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, if you're this guy, you kind of got to go fall on your sword and say, I've been trunk slamming, like somebody called Dustin, right? I've been trunk slamming for the past however many years, and now you're going to find out what it costs to do it the right way. Like, it's kind of as simple as that.
Yeah, I'll give him points for some self-awareness that he needs to step down and out of it at the beginning of this article. But this is a large part of what's wrong in the space right now is there are so many individuals that have undersold and done a disservice to their clients. And so those expectations of what real support and what's sustainable aren't there. And so now there's, unfortunately, his clients are going to have to go through a sharp, painful re-education on what sustainability looks like. I mean, we're seeing it right now. We've had some trunk slammers and what I would consider immature MSPs underbid in our markets considerably, but I know it's not sustainable with what they're offering. Either it's doing a disservice in what's being provided to the client, or it's a disservice to the MSP to be around to still be servicing that client in 5-10 years. So, that's sucks. And there are client profiles where that's what they want. They want that trunk slammer. They want the lowest bid, and wish them well.
You said it so much more eloquently.
That's usually not my forte.
Yeah, that's is part of the one of the comments he's put. Hey, I'm rambling at this point, but how does a client know they're being treated fairly and not oversold? It's like, dude, like Matt said, you've been underselling them and underspeccing them for years. That's just what they're exposed to, and this is the unfortunate side that gives the MSP world a bad name sometimes. Is the low barrier to entry is like, and again, break fix has its place, but this is just at some point like, hey, in order to standardize, in order to grow and mature, like we got to do this, in the best way, and that does mean more money. It's not more money for the sake of more money. There are reasons behind it. So it's kind of the business risk conversation. I mean, you start having conversations around the business rather than the IT side of things, and it does involve how IT is done. But again, it's a business conversation over why IT is done this way.
So what I think is interesting about this is this person is, right, a single IT guy, basically, right? Excuse me, IT equivalent of like a handyman. Why is the recommendation to his clients MSPs, right? It's like if you're a handyman and all of a sudden you're retiring and you start recommending like GCs as your replacement, it's going to be a whole different type of service. Does he not know any other like sole proprietors or people who aren't doing the MSP model that he can recommend? Not that that's the right thing for the business, but if for some reason these clients just want to stay down that road, the answer is not to go to an established MSP, but to find another like journeyman IT guy.
Yeah. I think it depends on the business and stuff too, because he says there too, my clients typically use computers as a side part of their business, right? Like, I have personal connections with some smaller businesses here. Like we as an MSP would never take them on, but even just looking at it, it's like, okay, you're a body shop, man. Your one computer runs QuickBooks. Like if the internet goes out, you guys can still do your job, right? So it doesn't really make sense for you to get a second internet line or something like that. You do have to appropriate size for the business, but no, it is a good point over like, hey, maybe these clients they do fit the break fix mold a little bit better than you would a standard MSP, and it's having those referrals. But it almost seems like, hey, I'm retired. You kind of go out and find find a new IT support, and the clients are going out and finding one, and then coming back to him and being like, what the heck? Why are they recommending all this stuff? Because he's worked with them for all these years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not an enviable position.
What's your guys' threshold? Or either by endpoints or by dollar spend that you look for to determine whether a client is mature enough to need an MSP versus a break fix type of scenario or block hours?
It's usually 10 endpoints for us, but we've made exceptions, right? Like somebody who we knew was starting a new business, we supported them when they had like 3 PCs because I knew the guy and he grew the business into a big one. There is some dollar amount, but honestly, if you had enough PCs, you were going to hit the dollar amount anyway. Put it that way.
Ours right now is a dollar amount. I mean, previous MSPs that I've worked for didn't have one. They'll take anything and everything. But with us now, we do have a dollar amount. But there is always it depends. If you're under it, but they're wanting to grow. Okay, cool. More of us is the client profile that they're ready to mature their business and their cyber practices, and they understand that there's going to be investments in it, and they're willing to make those. So we have taken a couple that have been under the minimum, but with the understanding that they would grow and would have to grow beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a few times we have prospect meetings and we legitly tell the client like, hey, you're not quite ready for us yet. We can make some recommendations on some smaller organizations or that we've referred out to, and then it's like, when you do get to this point, we would love to help you out with maturing your organization.
Yeah, no, that's we're typically around that 10 user, but we made exceptions and oftentimes, unfortunately, have also regretted some of those exceptions. So.
Well, I'm trying to think of this from a business perspective too. Is like you've been getting this like really cheap support and you're right, like, so your IT support bill has been extremely low over the let's just say you've been with this guy for 10 years, and he's leaving. So now you're going out, you're getting bids from MSPs, and they're 10 times, 12 times what you're making. And like, why would you listen to them? You don't have a relationship with them. You've known this guy for 10 years and your stuff has worked for the most part. You've never had a catastrophic incident. So how do you and I know we're going to go over a little bit, but like, how do you combat that? I mean, it's like you're fighting a losing battle already because they've just had 10 years of, hey, it works good enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do fight it, right? Like if this client is coming to me looking for services, there would be an education component about the limitations of that, or I suspect the most likely outcome would be they don't meet our minimum, user criteria. They're not the right environment for us anyway. I think it would more likely be that, right? If you're someone who can get by on just a guy helping you out every now and then you're the type of client that's not ready for a managed environment yet. Then it probably would be reminiscent of the types of conversations we had back when break fix was starting to move the managed services realm. It was like, feels like 20 years ago at this point. I think it would be kind of like that. And I don't know that we would be successful in converting any of them. I really don't. I suspect that we would take the meeting and just both decide that we're not the right fit for each other.
Yeah, no, that's the more time I spend in this industry, the higher my standards have gotten for what I expect out of clients, and lower risk tolerance I have of taking on assumed risk that's uncompensated. And I think that there's a lot of, especially smaller clients, less mature clients, that don't understand what that assumed risk is for us when they don't follow recommendations or best practices and so forth. Yeah, I think that maturity level strongly comes into play, whether or not we're a good fit, whether or not we would try and migrate someone into that managed.
I like the comment in the chat. The more I try to tell a prospective client no, the more they say yes, and I hate it.
Yeah, not wrong.
That's awesome. All right, well, I know we did go over, so let's go ahead and get to our next story here. This one, oh man, emergency help. The entire domain is inaccessible. Hey guys, we are effed. Our entire domain is inaccessible. Please help. A colleague of mine tried to remove a child domain from the domain for us. Here's our setup. croot.local is the root domain with 2 domain controllers on this root level. We have 4 subdomains, child 1, 2, 3, and 4. And a colleague of mine has successfully removed all users and groups from child 4 to child 3, and now wanted to demote and remove child 4 from the forest. I have no idea what commands he used. He used ChatGPT instructions only and was not supported by anyone else. Now all clients and domain controllers and servers in the entire forest report the username and password is incorrect. Try again. Do you have any idea how you get back in our system? If one of you guys wants to give a tech answer, feel free. But boy, what do we have here?
Someone's in way over their head.
Yeah, this is a different answer than I would have given several years ago when I would have probably given some kind of technical solution. These days, if you get to this point, this is what support is for, right? Open a case with Microsoft and help them figure out or just restore everything from backup, which is hard to do. Like if you mess, depending on how many DCs there are and things like that, you could do some kind of like authoritative restore or just some kind of solution like that. But honestly, this would be a Microsoft call for me. Like just figure out what is causing it, what we did to mess it up, and probably they're going to tell you to restore from a backup too, but you can at least figure out what and when.
Yeah, no, that's time is very valuable. It's very clear that they're in a technical situation outside their expertise, and I would be trying to find a SME in that matter, whether that's from Microsoft or someone else that can assist with this, because I'm going to guess they've probably sunk a ton of time into this already.
Yep. Well, first off, they clearly don't have change control processes, but we'll get to that afterwards, right? So, immediately agree with you guys. Like, hey, we messed up, we're in over our heads. Raise the white flag. Like, let's figure out, how to get this immediately resolved, and that's probably calling Microsoft or another SME. The authoritative restore, boy, that's those are fun. But making sure that you use this incident as a learning experience. So doing some sort of kappa to improve processes to make sure that, or minimize the chances that it happens again. I mean, this brought me right back to the best mess up story that I know I've told on here a couple times when I completely destroyed an Exchange server for a college. You know, I was going through on autopilot almost, did ADSI edit because it's worked for the last 7, and then I did it on the 8th. But oh wait, they needed their Exchange server on-prem. You know, called my boss and our lead tech. They both laughed at me and said, "Hey, well, that's what we have Microsoft support for." So called Microsoft support and spent 2 weeks with them and got it up and going. And again, it was a good learning experience. So back to last week's episode, which I unfortunately didn't get to be a part of, asking what your favorite interview question is. It's things like this. Hey, tell me about the time that you messed up the worst. Like, because A, if you haven't messed up yet, that means you aren't experienced enough. And, you know, or B, you're lying. And then C, it goes through the whole, like, how did you handle it? You know, everyone messes up. So what do you do about it? And if it's handled properly, it's a huge learning experience. But it doesn't stop it from sucking right now. And this does not look fun to get through. It's going to be a lot of long hours.
Yeah. Well, it looks like a little bit of a mess.
Yep. All right, mess solved. Shall we move into our next one here, our last one, I believe?
Yeah. Thought this was an interesting one to end on. Does anyone have an ethical objection to selling AI? Slightly off topic, but I've had 2 coworkers in the last month leave our company and the IT industry in general due to their personal opinions on how AI can reshape our world. Have you guys seen anything like this? Both former employees told me they'd rather be making less in another industry versus selling AI-based solutions. Are we getting to a point where AI might cause a negative reaction in general population? Is this something that you guys have seen at all? This is a new one for me.
An ethical objection? No. I'm though a believer that even if it's not something I necessarily would want for my own business, that whoever, the MSP, not the morality or ethics police anyway, and outside of like things that are overtly illegal, if that's what the client wants and or needs, and there's no technical objection to it, then that's okay, right? So I, somewhat controversially, I'm okay with selling things like employee monitoring software if they really want it, or turning on web filtering if they really want it, right? Stuff like that. So from that perspective, AI falls into the same bucket. Forget that I don't really have an issue with AI to begin with. Even if I did, if that's what the client wanted, I don't think it's really my or job or responsibility to shield them from my own thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I would have to do anything about the ethical objection to this, but I mean, I think it's more of a risk discussion that needs to happen around AI in general, and understanding what a client's or prospect's risk tolerance are. If ethics plays into that for them, then yeah.
I'd be really curious as to what industry they're going in that isn't using AI at this point, because as the comments post out, someone else made that comment as well, and the reply was, "Oh, they must be making socks," but also smart socks are a thing that are made with AI now. So, I'm all about having more morals, but this one's going to be a little bit hard to try to avoid. But there is something to be said. Like there'd be no difference between AI and just selling something that isn't right fit for the client, right? If you're trying to sell like some crazy enterprise like Splunk, all right, let's go. You're going to try to sell Splunk SIEM to all of your clients. How many of your clients actually need something that outlandishly expensive? Probably not. I would have an issue with that. But if we're just saying AI in general, I mean, it's too broad.
Yeah.
At this point, the already left the station, man. It's a little too late.
Well, I could see with it's an instance where like we're seeing AI slapped onto everything. So I could see if there's potentially like an ethical issue about a product that's claiming to be AI that's not AI. So misrepresentation, but Yeah, again, kind of stretching to try and find a scenario here where that's going to happen.
Did the poster talk about their justification for this? Like what is the ethical dilemma in their mind? Because frankly, I'm wondering if this is, the same type of persona that was dead set against moving to the cloud like 8 years ago, right? Is it just resistance to the way the industry is going, or is there an actual ethical issue in this person's viewpoint? And
So
I don't mean to dismiss it if there is, but it seems like something somewhat contrived.
this poster just had 2 coworkers that have resigned because of it, so they don't quite understand it either. They're just asking, has anyone else seen this? But immediately, like, I want to know, like, the anti-cloud propaganda. Like, I would like to just say no to the cloud, or you're just like refusing to sell that. Like, man, I'm gonna go to AI and make some of those now.
On-prem unite.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a real thing,
All
though,
right.
when cloud started becoming, right? There was a very vocal, I don't want to say movement that wasn't that formalized, but a vocal subset of systems administrators and architects and engineers that were vehemently anti-cloud for some time. And, that's largely past. You'll still see the comments anytime there's a cloud outage, right? The, Microsoft 364 kind of jokes, but for the most part, I think we've moved on as an industry at this point.
I wonder if it's like a maturity thing, because like when I first entered my career, it was all about cloud. I mean, that's what it was like, cool, I'm going to learn this. This is like I'm going to do this, and yes, all aboard the cloud train. But as it's coming to AI, like, I don't hate it in any way, shape, or form. I obviously use it, but I'm much more cautious around the hype. And I didn't dive right in like I did with cloud. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a experience sort of thing.
Well, we were having an interesting discussion the other day about this whole AI bubble thing, and how every new technology has a bubble that goes with it. And they seem to be the bubble that follows the invention or integration of the technology seems to be growing in scale with each new technology, which seems interesting. So it will be interesting to see what happens and who's impacted if there is a AI bubble that decides to pop here. We were kind of speculating on whether that's going to be primarily the silicon chipset people that will be impacted most, or the underlying AI LLMs and so forth. Be curious your guys' takes though on, is there a bubble, and do you see it impacting end users, or is it primarily going to be limited to those AI companies?
Yes. And we have 45 seconds, so I would say go into more detail than that.
All right, well, stay tuned for next time on MSP Community Live. All right, well, with 1 minute left, the event that we'll all three be at next week is the IT Connect Global. So if you are going to that, you should. We'll all be there. Henry and I are rocking and Matt, all three of us are rocking the Wednesday pre-day, and then we are involved throughout the week in other various things as well. But we'd love to see you there, and there will be no MSP Community Live next week since all three of us will be there as well. But there's a CyberFox After Hours Top Golf going on. I believe that's Tuesday night, the 4th. And then we have the Evolve meetings, and the conference runs all week. Outside of that, we have Neutralized Threats Together going on November 15th in Massachusetts. And it is IR game time. In fact, that's where I'm off to right now, is our monthly free IR game. So fantastic show. Thank you guys. It was great seeing you. And we'll see you in person in a couple days here.
Yeah. See you soon.
See you guys.
been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.